Hey everybody, it's Shaman Sister Sin, and you're listening to the Meditations and More podcast brought to you by littleshaman.org. That's me, Little Shaman. Today I want to talk to you about how narcissists fear rejection. This is probably the biggest fear that they have. In a way, it may be one of the only real fears that they have because all their other fears and paranoia relate to this one. Many people in a relationship of some kind with a narcissistic person find themselves continuously explaining to the narcissist in their lives that they were not rejecting them, that they're not abandoning them, that they're not trying to push them away or get rid of them. Narcissists have a pathological fear of rejection to the point that they often read it into situations where it doesn't exist. They often accuse loved ones of plotting to get rid of them, of not truly caring, and of lying or faking their feelings. This is because they cannot accept that anyone can truly care about them. Pathologically narcissistic people are generally filled with overwhelming self-hatred and shame for who they are. It's a holdover from their childhood. They truly believe they are human waste and that no one could ever love something so hideous. That's why they create a false self. This is the idealized versions of themselves that they wish they could be. Unfortunately, they know that isn't who they are, which means they believe anyone who claims to care about them doesn't really care about them because the person doesn't really know them. They know the false self. The fact that this is the narcissist's own doing doesn't matter. The fact that they never gave the other person a chance before simply assuming doesn't matter either. They feel they have to pretend to be someone else because no one will love them otherwise, and as you know, to the pathologically narcissistic person, feelings are facts. If they feel it, it's a fact. It's the truth. The reason for the false self and the subsequent deception of other people is their own self-hatred and inability to accept or even confront themselves as they are, but it's projected outward as other people being hateful, judgmental, unfair, and unreasonable. I have to be like this because you wouldn't accept me any other way. The long and short of it is that narcissistic people fear rejection from others because ultimately they reject themselves. When you can't see anything good or lovable about yourself, you're not going to believe anybody else does either. This is the essence of the mindset they're locked in. The narcissist's fear of rejection can come out in different ways. It can come out as jealousy, accusations, paranoia, blame shifting, and anger. It can also come out as grandiose lies and telling big stories. It can come out as bragging, neediness, clinginess, pulling away. Even discarding can be and often is the result of the fear of rejection. Narcissists discard people when they feel the person no longer buys into their false narrative. When someone stops doing that, it's experienced as a betrayal and a rejection by the narcissist because if you really love them, you should believe they're perfect. Since you don't believe they're perfect, you must not love them. Since you don't love them, you must have seen their hidden hideousness, and therefore it's only a matter of time before you leave them. For the narcissist, rejection is directly tied to the fear of exposure of that disgusting, defective thing that they believe that they are. Exposure of this is the ultimate disaster for the narcissist. It represents death, sometimes in a very literal sense. Narcissists that are exposed without the false self to cushion the blow fear that they are going to die of shame, literally die of shame. Being rejected or feeling rejected, which is probably a little closer to the truth, triggers the fear that they've been seen for what they really are, and their reaction to that is usually pretty ugly. This fear forces them to face what they believe is the truth about themselves, and their entire life is an exercise in trying to deny it. It's all very convoluted, and it's important to remember that this is all subconscious for the overwhelming majority of narcissists. It's not something they sit down and plan out. It's just the way their mind functions. It's a series of very immature, primitive defense mechanisms and circumventions that have become this person's whole way of being. Most of them don't realize they're doing it, and they are unaware that there's some other way to function. Maybe for them there isn't. This, of course, does not excuse the abusive behavior that results from their fear, because they can and do control their behavior when they feel they need to. It does, however, help with understanding something that can be extremely confusing. In the end, pathologically narcissistic people are insecure, frightened individuals trying to carve out an existence in a world that they don't understand and cannot navigate very well. They find the world hostile, unfair, and cold, and they feel attacked all the time. Sadly, they're their own worst enemies, but they're unable to understand that. It's one of the things that keeps people holding on to hope that they can be reached long after it's become apparent that things are not going to change. Don't let the narcissist's fear become your problem. You have no control over it, and there's nothing you can do about it anyway. I hope this clears a few things up for you. As always, I look forward to your comments, questions, and suggestions, so please keep those coming, and you can book an appointment on littleshaman.org. You've been listening to the Meditations and More podcast brought to you by littleshaman.org. That's me, Little Shaman. May the Great Spirit bless you and have a wonderful day.